Hey guys, DJ Dr. Doodles here, coming at you today to talk about the cover art that I created for a Synthwave EP that I just released under the moniker Jً�SON. So if you're interested in a behind-the-scenes look at my process, then stick around because we're about to get into it. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. We're going to get right to it and start out with a pencil sketch of the central character for this cover. First things first, though, we need to find a little inspiration for our Synthwave art. So I'm going to go right to Google, in incognito mode, of course. I can't have the fiance find out that I've been looking at all this Synthwave art.
What a weirdo.
Just kidding.
She doesn't care what I do.
Dumbass!
So I think the first thing you'll notice when you look at Synthwave artwork are the colors. Bright blues, turquoise, neon pinks and purples, bright oranges and yellows. You get the idea. The stereotypical Synthwave imagery consists of neon grids, city or mountainscapes, and the gradient sun set to a dark backdrop of blues, purples, and other things that make up a night sky. Because I intend on mixing my comic book, street art, cartoony style with the Synthwave style, I'm going to lean heavily into these elements. Maybe on future releases from this project, I'll move away from these artistic tropes to develop a more original style. But with this first release from the project, I want even the most casual of music listeners to know exactly what to expect when they click that play button. So I think I've got a pretty good idea now of what I want to do. So I'm going to begin my pencil sketch. Because of my use of vocoders for robotic voices on this album, and my love for drawing robots in general, I think it's a no-brainer that this cover is going to feature some sort of bot. I want my robot to have some sort of stereo unit incorporated into his body though, like a tape deck. Sort of like Soundwave from Transformers. If you're familiar with my Mantooth character, you already know that I'm a fan of the robot stereo hybrid concept. But with this robot, I wanted more than just speakers. I needed a tape deck right in the middle of his chest. This element alone helps to bring up the 80s vibe that Synthwave is known for. As a child of the 80s myself, this genre really speaks to me, which is the main reason I even started on this project. Once the sketch is complete, I need to snap a photo on my iPad and bring the image into Procreate. Here, I can begin inking the image digitally while refining characteristics of my drawing. One thing that popped into my head almost immediately when thinking about the concept for this character design was the idea of the tape deck. I wanted the tape deck popped open with the tape hanging out of his chest as it came off the spool. And of course, in one of his hands, he was going to have to be holding a pencil. This is sort of a loose reference to one of the songs on the EP called Rewind My Heart. It can probably also be seen as a reference to the actual title of the EP, Playback's a Bitch, because yeah, playing back a tape when the tape is off the spool is, well, kind of a bitch. Now that the inking is done, I'm going to jump over to my laptop and begin working on the background art for the cover. In Photoshop, I'm going to create a new file at 1500 by 1500 pixels for the size with a 300 dpi resolution. That's pretty standard for album covers, as it comes out to 5 inches by 5 inches, I believe. Anyway, I watched a few tutorials beforehand on how people make their versions of OUTRUN art, so I went with sort of a mashup of techniques, the ones that were going to work best for what I wanted in my background. First up, getting our background color and creating some stars. Fairly simple, right? Then I had to start creating the gradient sun with the retro lines through it. I've seen this done a few different ways, and the way I'm doing it just seemed the cleanest and easiest. Up next was the grid that everyone is so fond of using in OUTRUN art. Everyone has their own way to do this as well, but using the vanishing point to create the grid ended up working the best for me. Let's go ahead and copy our sun layer to create a reflection of the sun on the grid. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep these ripples. I might redo that part. One thing I wanted to convey was the cityscape in the background, but I wanted to use equalizer bars to create my cityscape. It would seem that I've lost the footage I screen capped while making the equalizer, so we'll just skip ahead to exporting the background art and bringing it into Procreate. But first, it's time for a sexy sax break. Okay, that was very sexy, no? So with our background image opened up in Procreate, we can begin to color in our line work. This way, we can see how the colors of the character will look in contrast to the background. I definitely wanted to work in some bright blue into the color scheme of this robot, with the rest being mostly shades of gray to convey the robot's metallic parts. Once my color flats, shading, and highlights were complete, I needed to export the character as a PNG. This way, I could drop him into the Photoshop file and finish up the layout of the cover art. I also exported a nebula layer that I made in Procreate that I could blend in with my space background. With my robot and nebula placed in the image, it was time to import the band logo that I worked on earlier and forgot to document. I followed a great tutorial on creating those metallic synthwave letters that I'm going to go ahead and drop a link up above so you can check it out yourself. Next, of course, is the title of the EP. From here, basically, I just played around with the positioning of the character, the band logo and the title until I felt it looked right. Once this was done, we needed a few final touches. I needed to blend this cartoon character in with the more cyberspace background, so I decided to add Scanlines and some opacity, and then a little bit of glow to give my robot the look of a hologram. And voila, we're finished with our cover art. The only thing left to do now is upload the artwork to Bandcamp and get it ready for the release. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to slap that like button to let me know. If you'd like to see more of my content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't forget to click the notification bell so that you get an alert when the next video goes live. Please feel free to go check out my new Synthwave EP, available now for purchase over at madslaps.co. Until next time, I've been DJ Dr. Doodles.